And moving on a big story this morning. Remember, it's on flooding, though we had to observe the day, the International Day for the Sign Language. Flooding, it's one thing that a lot of agencies are coming together to fight it. And last week we had a climatologist in the house, and today he's back here. So join us this morning to still talk more on the flood. Maybe this time more academical is Dr. Itita Ekpe. He's a climatologist from the Department of Geography and Environmental Science, University of Calabar. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Okay, doctor, let's quickly get to find out what's the connection between the climate and flood.
Okay, thank you. The climate controls the weather, controls the elements of weather, and then under flooding, what really affects, influences flooding are those elements. We talk about rainfall, we talk about wind speed, we talk about temperature. All these influences flooding. The higher the rainfall, then definitely you are going to have a high level of flooding. Wind speed also, the higher the wind speed, especially along the coast, the river area, definitely you're going to have flooding. We have in the case of tsunami, in the case of waves also. So that is the connection that climate influences flooding. The higher rainfall will definitely bring about flooding in whatever area we're talking about.
Okay, now why is it important that we people become abreast with how the climate is changing? Changing times, changing season. Why is it important that we don't really need to read climatology to know exactly all about the climate, but some key things we should know about our climate as it changes?
Yes, it is important because this is what is going to affect our lives, affect our livelihood, affect our economy, affect the way we live, affect the way we behave, the way we even dress. It affects society, it affects community. Climate change have the capacity of displacing the whole community, the ancestral homes of any persons. We have cases like the Laguna. That community is almost washed off. We have major part of the community have been resettled. So that is how climate change influences. We need to be very much particular, interested in knowing what is happening to our climate, be part of it, be part of the changes in rainfall, be part of the changes in temperature, be part on the way we manage our forest and our environment, be interested in it, because that information will help you help all of us in the long run.
Okay, there's been this, some people do not understand the difference between a climatologist and a meteorologist. Okay. So in determining flood, or those agencies or the persons that determine a flood, all those cases, is it a meteorologist or a climatologist? Could you clear that for us?
And meteorologists do more of monitoring and prediction. They monitor the weather and they predict what is going to happen. For a climatologist, we look at the long-term change. We don't look at weather. We get this data from the meteorologists. The meteorologists work with weather day-by-day changes, day-by-day rainfall, temperature, and all that. While we get this information, look at in the long term. I told you last week, 30 years to 100 years to 50 years, look at what have been the pattern, and then what will likely be the impact on agriculture, impact on the economy, impact on aviation, impact on water resources and other aspects of life. So meteorology do a lot of monitoring, prediction at the short term, while we look at more on the long term.
Yes.
All right, doctor, talking about these predictions, excuse me. Now, how accurate are these predictions? Because sometimes we could see the weather predictions. It could be sunny, it could be lightly thunderclouds, or thunderstorms, and all of that. But you find out the weather turns out to be very clear and sunny and bright. The day it tells you to be sunny, it will be heavy downpour that will occur. Now, a climatologist looks at this long term, and a meteorologist looks at it short term. Yes. How accurate are these predictions that they will actually turn out to be the way one or the other says it will be?
You look at it on a scale of 100%. You can say 90% accurate. So you cannot look at the 10% to be, you have to do with data. You have to do with, what they do is look at the cloud cover and wind movement, wind direction, and then give a prediction on whether there will be rainfall or there will be sunlight. That is what is being done. But 90% of the time, they are always very correct.
All right. Now, you mentioned being part of the process in our different communities in preventing flooding and all of that. Now, how can we become or be part of the process in preventing most of these disasters you mentioned in the course of the discussion?
How can we, how can the communities?
How can we as individuals, as a community, as a people, prevent most of these things we see happening in our neighborhood?
How we can be part is to be abreast with the information that has been released. Like what we have now, NIMET came up with information. This was going to happen between the months of August, September, October. To be high level of flooding. So it's to know, okay, which are the risk zone? Where am I staying? Where am I living? Is my area prone to flood? What should I do? This information gets to me by SEMA, then disseminates information at the state level, and then information will trickle down to local level by the local emergency management agencies. And then we get this information, we act on it. You now check where you stay. Is it in the high risk zone? Is it there? What do I do? How do I move out? I need to move out immediately. I need to relocate, or what do I need to do to immediately manage myself out of this? So it's for us to be interested and be part of the information to immediately evacuate when necessary.
Okay, Doctor, let's get to find out. Let's look at the types of flooding, because it's understood that most times the types will determine the cause.
Yeah.
So could you tell us the types and the causes of flooding?
Okay, we have river flooding. Okay. The river flood happens when river overflows banks, submerging area that usually are dry and majorly influenced by or caused by high rainfall or water releases from dams. That leads to that. And then we have coastal flooding also. Coastal flooding, this happens when seawater submerges an area that usually is dry. Area that we know that there's no water there, but seawater moves down. That's coastal flooding. When we talk about tsunami, it's the case. It causes that, and also even the hurricane that we see happen that relocates the seawater to land. We also have flash flood. High level of rainfall. We have rainfall continuously for between 3 to 6 hours, leads to flash flood. And then we have inland flood, what we call the urban flood. So the urban flood, this also happens within the urban center. In this case, everybody building now, you need to make sure you concrete your environment. We have the road, we have the drainage system, and when this water does not have where to go to, wherever they can settle. And most times it is people's houses. So that is these are the types of flooding. We have storm flood. That one leads by high waves, like what we have in Lagos.
Okay, Doctor. Just as a follow-up, remember in your response, you said rainfall and release of water.
Yes.
Now, in 2012, we had a Lacto Dam in Cameroon releasing their water into Nigeria.
Yes.
Now, how can we cannot stop rainfall from falling?
Yes.
How can we address this issue of having the water being released from Cameroon and it affects major states, several states in Nigeria, leading to flooding?
Not just Cameroon, but West Africa and even up to Central Africa. And this is because Nigeria has no exclusive boundary to climate. Whatever happens in other country definitely will affect us this way. So that's why we have Nigerian Hydrological Agency. What they do is to work with other countries, about 8 other countries, to make Nigeria makes it 9, to see how water level can be managed. These countries have dams. Cameroon, like Lagdo Dam, they have the dam is there. The dam helps them for water resources, agriculture, and other water needs in their country. So when this dam has been filled up because of heavy rainfall, high intensity of rainfall, this water will need to be released, because if it doesn't get released, controlled released, definitely the dam might fail and it's going to cause a disaster. Nigeria cannot escape from it, because Nigeria sits downstream, while these countries are located upstream, and they have to release this water. This water, for them, they want to release this water to Atlantic Ocean. Where Nigeria sits, we have the River Niger, River Benue, and River Niger. There, this what the dam, the water being released into this river to run down to the ocean, that Atlantic Ocean. So in the course of doing that, all the communities, the states along those paths definitely will be affected. That's why we have about 102 local governments that have been high risk because of this happening. So the only way we can manage that is to work in line with them, which Nigeria is currently doing, to ensure that they work in line with these other countries to see how this can be controlled. That when you are to release this water, notify us, and then we can also do warning, monitoring, prediction, and warn our people, resettle those that needs to be resettled, so that we manage the outcome. Since it cannot be, we cannot run from it because of climate change, because of high rainfall.
Now, you rightly mentioned it. We cannot run from it. Yeah. Now, what can we do to make sure, at least to the barest minimum possible, at least manage within our environment, to see how it doesn't affect us adversely, especially those who are living in high-risk areas? Because will they keep running and coming back when the floods are down? Is that the only option, or is there something that can be done to at least help? Okay,
along this river part, we have what we call the flood plains. These flood plains helps to serve as catchment for the excess water being released by this river. So it means that the flood plains should be free from settling. Okay. No, there should be human settlement along this floodplain. Even agricultural activities should be minimized, because most times agricultural activities goes, what they do, the environment is being destroyed for this to happen. The trees helps us to control this water, because they act as brakes for the speed and also help the water to percolate down. So when this does not happen, they are having this impact. So those areas, communities that are settling along these floodplains have to be definitely resettled. That's what the government can do. Resettle these people, create another community, another area for them. Though it's difficult also, because people will say, my ancestral home, this is where my great-grandfather was, this is where we were born and bred, this is all that we have, this is all that we know. So how can we leave this area, leading to this problem year in year? So for governments to immediately see how they can control settlement along the path of flow, because water must have its way.
Okay. Dr. Itita Ekpe, climatologist, geography and environmental science department, University of Calabar. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time, and we hope to have you some other day to talk more on this.